When you grow old, silently cut off 5 types of people. As we grow older, life brings clarity. The hustle and noise of youth quiet down, and the preciousness of peace becomes undeniable. For those of us in our golden years, our focus shifts toward preserving our health, joy, and purpose. We realize that our energy, now more precious than ever, should not be spent on those who drain it or disrupt our peace. Life is too short, and the years ahead are meant to be lived with grace, dignity, and fulfillment. If you want to protect your peace as you grow older, it's important to make wise decisions about the people in your life. Some relationships bring light and love, while others weigh you down like a heavy anchor. This isn't about anger or resentment, it's about making a quiet, thoughtful choice to prioritize your well-being. Here are 5 types of people to silently cut off as you embrace the next chapter of your life. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The constantly negative. As we grow older, our perspective on life deepens. We've weathered storms, celebrated triumphs, and found meaning in moments both grand and small. We've learned to appreciate the serenity of a quiet morning, the joy of a kind word, and the beauty of life's simplicity. Yet amidst all this, there are those who cannot or will not see the light. They dwell perpetually in shadows, finding fault with the world and dragging others into their storm of negativity. These are the constantly negative people, and their presence can be more destructive than we often realize. Negativity is not just an attitude, it's an energy that seeps into the spaces around it. A negative person isn't merely complaining, they are shifting the atmosphere of every room they enter, pulling focus away from solutions and joy, and planting seeds of doubt and dissatisfaction. When you spend too much time in their presence, their outlook begins to affect you, even if you don't notice it at first. Their cynicism may start to creep into your thoughts, making you question the goodness of life and your ability to find happiness. Over time, this persistent exposure can wear down even the most resilient spirit. But why is it so easy to let them stay? Perhaps it's because their negativity disguises itself as a plea for understanding or realism. They claim they're not being negative, they're just telling it like it is. Yet there's a profound difference between realism and pessimism. Realism acknowledges challenges while still leaving room for hope and possibility. Pessimism closes every door, dims every light, and sees every effort as doomed before it begins. As you move into the later chapters of your life, ask yourself, do you really have time for this kind of energy? You've spent decades overcoming obstacles and finding meaning in both joy and hardship. You've earned the right to peace, to relationships that add to your life instead of taking from it. Every hour spent with someone who focuses solely on what's wrong is an hour you could be investing in the beauty of what's right. Cutting off negative people doesn't have to be dramatic or unkind. In fact, the most powerful acts of self-preservation are often the quietest. Step back gently, let the connection fade, and redirect your energy to those who uplift and inspire you. Surround yourself with people who see life's challenges as opportunities for growth, who remind you of all the goodness still waiting to be discovered. By letting go of the constantly negative, you reclaim your power to focus on the positive. You give yourself permission to live fully, savoring the time you have left with a heart unburdened by unnecessary gloom. And perhaps, in your silent departure, you offer them a gift as well, a chance to reflect on their own outlook and maybe choose light over darkness. Remember, your life is your own, and the energy you allow into it shapes your experience. Choose carefully, choose joy, choose peace. 2. The exploiters of kindness. Kindness is one of life's most profound gifts. It's a reflection of your heart, your character, and your desire to uplift those around you. Over the years, you've likely offered your kindness freely to your family, friends, and neighbors without expecting anything in return. This selflessness is a beautiful legacy of love and generosity. However, as time goes on, you may encounter those who don't see kindness as a treasure to be cherished but as a resource to be exploited. The exploiters of kindness are subtle at first. They present themselves as people in need, and because you have a giving heart, you naturally want to help. Perhaps they lean on you for advice, assistance, or emotional support, and you gladly offer it. But over time, you begin to notice a pattern. They ask but rarely give, they take but seldom show gratitude. When the tables turn and you are the one in need, they are suddenly absent, too busy or full of excuses. What makes this so painful isn't just the imbalance, it's the feeling of being unseen, unappreciated, even used. You wonder how someone could look at your generosity and not feel compelled to give something back, even if it's as simple as a heartfelt thank you or a small act of kindness in return. Yet these individuals often see your giving nature as a well that will never run dry, a resource they can tap into whenever it suits them. It's natural to feel conflicted. After all, kindness is such an integral part of who you are. The thought of withholding it, even from those who don't deserve it, can feel uncomfortable, even wrong. But here's the truth: kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. Giving endlessly to those who only take doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a person who is slowly drained of energy, joy, and peace. At this stage in your life, your resources, time, energy, emotional capacity, are more precious than ever. You've spent decades pouring into others, and now you deserve relationships that pour back into you. Cutting off those who exploit your kindness isn't an act of cruelty, it's an act of wisdom. It's recognizing that your kindness is too valuable to be wasted on those who don't respect it. This doesn't mean you stop caring. You can still wish them well and hope for their growth, but from a distance. It's about shifting your focus to relationships that are mutual, balanced, and life-giving, people who see your kindness for what it is, a gift, and who respond with gratitude, respect, and a desire to give back in their own way. When you silently step away from those who take advantage of you, something remarkable happens. You feel lighter, stronger, and start to see your kindness as the treasure it is, a treasure that should only be shared with those who truly value it. Remember, your kindness is a reflection of your heart. Protect it, honor it, and share it wisely. You deserve relationships that nourish your spirit, not drain it. Letting go of those who exploit your kindness isn't just an act of self-preservation. It's a way of creating space for people who will cherish and reciprocate the love you so freely give. 3. The disrespectful. Respect is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. It's the quiet acknowledgement of another's worth, recognizing their experiences, boundaries, and voice. By the time you reach this stage of life, you understand just how vital respect is, not just from others, but for yourself. You've lived too long and learned too much to tolerate anything less. Yet there are still those who fail to see the value of respect, who dismiss it as unimportant, and who treat you as though your years of wisdom, sacrifice, and experience count for nothing. Disrespect isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with shouting or outright confrontation. Sometimes it's in the subtle ways people dismiss your opinions or ignore your boundaries. It's in the patronizing tone or the rolled eyes when you share a thought. It's in the way someone interrupts you as though your words carry no weight. Over time, this quiet erosion of respect begins to take its toll. It leaves you questioning, do they see me? Do they value me? The truth is that no one has the right to make you feel small. Your life, with its joys and struggles, has shaped you into the person you are today, a person deserving of respect, not just for what you've done, but simply for who you are. When someone doesn't respect you, they reveal more about themselves than they do about you. Their inability to honor your worth speaks to their own shortcomings, insecurities, or perhaps their inability to recognize the value of others. The hardest part of encountering disrespect is deciding what to do about it. For many of us, the instinct is to try harder to explain ourselves, to prove our worth, to hope that if we just say the right thing, the other person will finally see us for who we truly are. But here's the hard truth: respect isn't something you can demand or earn through effort. It's either something that exists or it doesn't, and if it doesn't, no amount of convincing will change that. At this point in your life, your energy is too precious to spend trying to win the respect of someone who refuses to give it. Letting go of the disrespectful isn't about anger or revenge. It's about quietly stepping back and protecting your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to value yourself. You don't need to justify why you deserve to be treated with dignity. Walking away from disrespect doesn't make you unkind or cold, it makes you wise. It shows that you understand the value of your time, your energy, and your heart. It sends a message, not just to the person you're stepping away from, but to yourself. I am worth more than this. When you distance yourself from disrespectful people, something powerful happens. You create space for relationships that uplift you, for people who see your worth without needing to be convinced. You find yourself surrounded by those who honor your boundaries, who listen with intention, and who treat you with the dignity you've always deserved. Perhaps the greatest gift of all is what you give yourself when you refuse to accept disrespect. You reinforce your own self-worth. You remind yourself that you are not defined by the way others treat you but by the way you choose to treat yourself. In these later years, your peace and well-being are non-negotiable. Life is too short to spend it in the company of those who diminish you. Walk away with grace. Let their voices fade into the background as you move toward people and experiences that reflect the respect you have for yourself. You've earned it. You deserve it. And it's never too late to demand it, silently, powerfully, and with unwavering dignity. 4. The energy vampires. There comes a time in life when you realize that your energy is one of your most precious assets. As you grow older, you see how finite it is, how easily it can be drained, and how much harder it becomes to replenish. Every ounce of your energy now feels more meaningful because it's tied to the things you love, the people who bring you joy, the passions that inspire you, and the quiet moments that give you peace. But not everyone values your energy as you do. There are those who take and take, leaving you feeling depleted, unbalanced, and drained. These are the energy vampires, and their impact on your life can be profound. An energy vampire doesn't always announce themselves with dramatic behavior. Often, they come disguised as someone who just needs a little help or who's going through a rough time. While it's natural to want to be there for others, to listen, to care, and to offer support, a relationship with an energy vampire goes far beyond these occasional acts of compassion. With them, it's never just a season of difficulty, it's a constant demand. Their problems become your problems. Their chaos spills into your peace, and their needs always seem to outweigh yours. At first, you may not notice what's happening. After all, you're a caring person, and helping others is part of who you are. But over time, you start to feel the toll. You might notice a heaviness in your chest when their name comes up, a feeling of dread before answering their calls. You find yourself exhausted after every interaction, not because the conversation was meaningful, but because it left you with nothing in return. That's the hallmark of an energy vampire. Their presence leaves you feeling more burdened than before. What makes it harder is the guilt. What if they really need me? You might think. What if no one else will help them? But here's the truth, energy vampires don't want solutions, they want attention. They thrive on having someone to absorb their negativity, validate their constant complaining, and be a sounding board for their endless troubles. If you let them, they will take as much as you're willing to give without ever considering how it affects you. This isn't to say you should stop caring about others. Compassion is a beautiful thing, and there will always be moments when someone truly needs your support. But there's a difference between helping someone who is genuinely struggling and being a constant emotional reservoir for someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. Healthy relationships are built on balance, on give and take, on mutual care and respect. When that balance is missing, it's not a relationship, it's a transaction, and you're the one paying the price. So what can you do? It starts with boundaries. Boundaries aren't about being harsh or unkind, they're about protecting what matters most. It might mean saying no to a phone call when you're not in the emotional space to handle it. It might mean redirecting the conversation when it turns into another venting session. Sometimes, it means stepping back entirely, letting the relationship fade into the background of your life. This isn't an easy decision, especially if the energy vampire is someone you care about deeply. But remember this, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot be the best version of yourself, kind, loving, patient, if you're constantly running on empty. By protecting your energy, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're ensuring that the love and care you do give come from a place of fullness, not exhaustion. When you step away from energy vampires, something incredible happens. You feel lighter, as though a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying has been lifted. Your mind becomes clearer, your emotions steadier, and your capacity for joy greater. You find yourself with more time and energy to spend on the people and activities that truly matter. Most importantly, you rediscover the power of your own presence, the ability to walk into a room, into a conversation, into your own life, feeling whole and unburdened. Your energy is a gift. It's the fuel for everything you do, from the small moments of joy to the big acts of love and connection. Protect it fiercely, share it wisely, and never feel guilty for stepping away from someone who doesn't respect its value. In this season of life, peace and balance aren't luxuries, they're necessities. By letting go of the energy vampires, you create space for a life that reflects the serenity, fulfillment, and meaning you've always deserved. 5. The competitor. In the later chapters of life, friendships should feel like a sanctuary, safe, supportive, and filled with joy. After all, you've weathered life's ups and downs, and your relationships should now serve as sources of comfort and connection, not contention. Yet, even in these years, there can be individuals in your circle who quietly see your successes not as moments to celebrate but as challenges to outdo. These are the competitors, and their subtle rivalry can transform even the closest bonds into silent battlefields. The competitor isn't always obvious. They might smile and nod when you share good news, but their words or actions afterward often reveal a different story. Perhaps you tell them about a proud moment, a new milestone with your family, a long-desired trip, or a personal goal achieved. Instead of sharing in your joy, they respond by redirecting the conversation to themselves. A bigger accomplishment, a more expensive vacation, a seemingly greater success. What should feel like a moment of shared happiness instead becomes overshadowed by their need to outshine you. At first, you may brush it off. You tell yourself it's just their way of interacting or that perhaps they didn't realize how their response made you feel. But over time, this dynamic starts to weigh on you. You find yourself hesitating to share your victories, knowing they'll be met with comparison instead of celebration. You might even start to downplay your joy, shrinking your light so theirs can shine brighter. But here's the truth: no genuine friendship should make you feel this way. Competitors often operate from a place of insecurity. Your success, rather than inspiring them, becomes a mirror reflecting their own doubts and fears. They measure their worth against yours, as though life were some sort of contest. But their struggle isn't really about you, it's about their own inner battles. Yet their need to compete creates ripples that affect you, turning moments of joy into subtle power struggles and slowly eroding the trust and ease that should define your relationship. Friendship is meant to lift you up, to remind you of your worth on the hard days, and to celebrate your victories on the good ones. When you're constantly navigating someone else's jealousy or rivalry, that bond loses its strength over time. It can even cause you to question your own achievements, planting seeds of doubt where there should be only pride. You don't need to carry the burden of someone else's insecurity. You don't need to downplay your light to make them feel more comfortable in their shadows. True friends will cheer for you wholeheartedly, seeing your success as something to be celebrated, not as a threat. They'll remind you that there's room for everyone to shine, that life isn't a competition, but a journey meant to be shared with love and support. So what do you do with the competitor? The answer isn't about confrontation or accusations, it's about quiet, deliberate choices. You don't have to announce your decision or explain your feelings. Instead, let the relationship fade naturally, creating space for connections that reflect the mutual respect and joy you deserve. When you let go of the competitor, you're not just stepping away from their behavior, you're reclaiming your right to celebrate your life fully, without hesitation or doubt. You're choosing to surround yourself with people who see your wins as something to be cherished, not measured against. As you make this shift, you'll notice something beautiful. Your circle becomes smaller but richer. The people who remain are those who truly see you, value you, and celebrate your journey alongside their own. In these years, your victories, no matter how big or small, are worth celebrating without reservation. You've worked hard, loved deeply, and lived fully, and every milestone deserves to be met with joy. By stepping away from the competitor, you affirm your own worth and create space for the kind of relationships that uplift and inspire you. Letting go doesn't mean bitterness or rejection, it's an act of grace, for them and for yourself. It's a quiet declaration that you're choosing peace over rivalry, connection over comparison, and authenticity over pretense. Life is too short for silent battles. Surround yourself with those who remind you of the beauty in sharing victories, not competing for them. Celebrate freely, live fully, and let your light shine without fear. You've earned that freedom, and you deserve the joy it brings. Embracing the freedom of peace. Peace is a gift we cherish more deeply with age. It's not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of harmony, a quiet, steady sense of being aligned with who we are and what truly matters. As life unfolds, we realize that peace is not something handed to us by others, it's something we create and protect within ourselves. It culminates from a life lived with intention, a reward for years of lessons learned and battles fought. Yet peace is also fragile. It can be disrupted by chaos, unnecessary drama, or the weight of others' expectations and negativity. As you grow older, you see with startling clarity how precious your time and energy are. The days ahead are not infinite, and every moment spent wrestling with turmoil is a moment taken from joy, rest, and meaningful connection. At this stage in life, embracing the freedom of peace becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. The freedom of peace begins with letting go of people, situations, and patterns that no longer serve you. This isn't about anger or resentment, it's about wisdom and self-preservation. You've seen enough of life to understand that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people were only meant to accompany you for a season, and when their presence begins to weigh you down instead of lift you up, it's time to release them. Letting go doesn't diminish the love or kindness you've shown, it honors the person you're becoming. In letting go, you make room for what truly matters. You create space for relationships that are life-giving, for moments that bring joy, and for the quiet beauty of simply being. Peace doesn't thrive in cluttered spaces, whether that clutter is physical, emotional, or relational. By stepping away from what drains you, you open the door to things that nourish your spirit and bring clarity to your life. This freedom also requires courage. It means standing firm in your boundaries, even when others don't understand it. It means valuing your own well-being over the need to please everyone around you. Most of all, it means trusting that the choice to protect your peace is an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the people who truly care about you. When you're at peace, you're able to give the best of yourself to those who matter most. There's a quiet power in solitude, a kind of strength that can only be found in the stillness of your own company. Many fear being alone, equating solitude with loneliness. But the truth is that peace often blooms in those quiet moments when you're free from the noise of the world. It's in those moments that you reconnect with yourself, your values, your dreams, and the person you've always been beneath the distractions of life. Solitude doesn't take away from your life. It enriches it, grounding you in the freedom to live authentically and intentionally. When you embrace the freedom of peace, life begins to feel lighter. The burdens you once carried, whether they were relationships that no longer served you, obligations that drained you, or thoughts that held you back, start to fall away. You find yourself moving through your days with a sense of clarity and purpose, focusing on what truly matters and letting the rest fade into the background. This is not to say that the journey to peace is easy. It takes time, reflection, and often a willingness to make hard choices. But as you walk this path, you begin to realize something profound. Peace isn't the absence of challenges, it's the presence of resilience. It's knowing that no matter what comes your way, you have the strength to protect your heart, your energy, and your purpose. In the freedom of peace, you discover the joy of simplicity, a conversation with a dear friend, the laughter of grandchildren, the beauty of a sunset. These moments become brighter and more vivid because they are no longer overshadowed by unnecessary noise. You learn to savor life's quiet pleasures, find gratitude in the present, and live each day with a sense of fulfillment. Peace is not just a gift you give yourself, it's a legacy you leave behind. By choosing to live with intention and grace, you inspire others to do the same. Your children, your friends, and those who look up to you see the strength it takes to prioritize what matters and the joy that comes from living in alignment with your values. Embracing the freedom of peace isn't about perfection or always having it together. It's about creating a life where the things that matter most are given the space to thrive. It's about walking forward with courage, letting go of what no longer serves you, and trusting that the journey ahead is filled with possibility. As you choose peace, you choose freedom, the freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to experience the richness of life without the weight of unnecessary burdens. In that freedom, you find not just the life you've earned, but the life you've always deserved. Final thoughts. Your golden years are a time for reflection, growth, and living with intention. Cutting off these 5 types of people doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring more about yourself. It's a decision rooted in wisdom, self-respect, and a commitment to living fully. Let go of what doesn't serve you, and embrace the peace and purpose you've worked so hard to achieve. The journey ahead is yours to shape, and with the right people by your side or in the quiet strength of your own company, you can live these years with the grace and fulfillment you deserve. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.